Changes. Turn and face the strange. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Changes. It's gonna have to be a different man. Time may change me, but I can't trace time.
This story begins 133 years ago, when the population of BC was sparse and before roads were even built. BC's first high school opened in 1872. 4 years later, the first provincial examinations were introduced, and the cycle of provincial exams began. These cycles were influenced by the economy and, of course, politics. While some governments were in favor, others were opposed. As the political tide shifted, so too did the goals of education. Over 100 years later, in 1983, following a decade-long exam absence, then Premier Bill Vander Zalm mandated provincial exams, stating that these tests would measure the effectiveness of teachers, schools, and increase the confidence of students, parents, and the general public in the status of public education. Initially, exams were worth 50% of a student's final grade. Yikes! 50%? Are you kidding me? In 1990, this was reduced to 40% of their final mark. Now, these exams are optional at the grade 12 level, and students are saying, "Awesome, dude!" Who is affected by this ministry policy to make exams optional? The Ministry of Education reviews its graduation program every 10 years, 'cause you just gotta do it. Starting in 2002, the ministry bigwigs went and talked to the people and asked them what was wrong and how they could improve it. Turns out, the people wanted flexibility and choice. What's up with that? Ministry says, how do I hold the standards and maintain the accountability? I know. Let's make grade 12 exams optional, with the exception of English 12, while having mandatory exams in grades 10 and 11. This way, we have ensured accountability and delivered flexibility and choice to students. So there. Who in their right mind would want to write these optional exams? Answer. Students that want to get into BC's university and qualify for provincial scholarships. But the plot thickens on that front. More to come on that later. Isn't this really just a move by the government to save money, while it turns out that the budget has remained constant at $7.2 million a year over the past 3 years? The difference is that now the money is being spent on grade 10 and 11 provincial exams. Perhaps the people most affected by ministry policy changes are grade 12 students in BC. Many experts claim that high-stakes exams, such as provincial examinations in BC, have positive and negative consequences for our students. Some say that these exams widen the gap between minorities and Caucasian students, rich and poor students, and students with different learning styles. While other experts claim these exams are necessary to uphold academic standards in the province. Some experts say high-stakes exams penalize divergent thinking, creativity, and damage students' self-esteem and lead to disengagement. However, studies have shown that exams increase extrinsic motivation and academic rigor. Perhaps the most research has been done in the area of high-stakes testing and student anxiety. There are reports of students that cannot sleep the night before an exam, vomit, on the day of a test, and suffer from anxiety-related headaches and nausea. Yet there are other studies that have shown that reports of student exam anxiety are exaggerated. Speaking of anxiety, how are teachers affected by this policy change? Many teachers like provincial exams because they can be used as a tool to identify successful practices, enhance reflective and critical thinking when planning instruction, improve teachers' assessment and instructional practices, stimulate action research to improve school practices. Other teachers do not like provincial exams because they reduce professional autonomy. They hold teachers responsible for low-achieving students. They narrow the curriculum and encourage teaching to the test. Results are published in an inflammatory manner that distinguish between have and have-not schools. Now that these exams are optional, teachers are looking forward to less anxiety and stress, flexibility in teaching practices, and increase in morale. Yay! Finally, how does making exams optional affect universities? Well, remember a while back we said the plot thickens? Well, this is the part where it thickens. Between 2007 and 2008, all three major BC universities decided to change their admission requirements for high school students. They decided to only use them if the exam mark advantaged the student. How kind. Why did they make this change? All because the ministry changed the graduation requirements. Wait a minute. That's a pretty hollow argument. Well, there were other reasons too. Mainly, it simply isn't fair. They were admitting out-of-province students without making them write exams. Not to mention the fact they were only really using the exam marks to revoke offers. All early offers were based on self-reported or midterm marks anyway. Let's be transparent here, people. And what about all that fierce competition? BC students packing their bags and heading east to universities, quite happy to use just their class marks? Ouch, that hurts. Please don't go. But meanwhile, stodgy old professors smoking their pipes have begun wringing their hands. Without provincial exams, they would surely have an incoming class of dumb bunnies, the product of grade inflation and curriculum gone unchecked. What to do? What about tracking high schools? And any offenders of grade inflation would pay. Or at least their students would. We could dock students' averages. Maybe, or not. That's pretty controversial, not to mention costly. Or how about introducing a Canadian SAT? Bad idea, Dr. Snooty Pants. They're expensive and aren't that reliable. In fact, you'll find high school marks without exams predict student success pretty well. So there. All right. So what to do? Just watch and wait and hope that the cycle will repeat itself and our trusty provincial exams will eventually return.
That time may change me.